Let's continue your Green Breakfast with our Green Focus, and I'm excited about this. It's an interview with Dr Charlie Gardner, and he's been in the environmental circles for a very long time. He's also a lecturer, and he says most people, that's me and you and others, are in favour of stopping climate change. In fact, there might be more people in favour of stopping climate change than we realise, because it's a proposition he puts forward, and he's writing the book, What One Person Can Do in a Planetary Emergency. And in an interview for Your Green Voice this afternoon, he gave us a great analogy that demonstrates how people work in an emergency and why, by opening up and just saying to others that you are worried about climate change, is the best way to approach conversations.
We human beings, we are social animals. We get our cues as to how to think and behave from other people, right? Think about what happens when a fire alarm goes off. If a fire alarm goes off in your office or school, how do you react? You don't immediately run out of the room. You look at how other people are reacting, don't you? If other people are very chilled out and not moving, you think, oh, it must be a drill. They must know something that I don't know, so you don't worry. If other people look really scared and are running out of the room, then you're going to act much more urgently. And this is exactly how it is when we talk about climate change. So everybody has, we've seen the footage of the fires and floods, and we've heard the scientific warnings, but then and we think, oh, this must be really serious. Gosh, this sounds scary. But then we walk out of the house and we walk down the street and we have our day at work and nobody's mentioning it. Nobody's said anything. And we think, well, if this was really as scary as those scientists said, wouldn't people be talking about it? Wouldn't people be doing something? Wouldn't people be treating it seriously? So we end up not actually treating it as seriously as we should, just because other people aren't treating it as seriously as they should. And of course, talking about climate change, it's a bit like death. It's taboo. We don't want to bring our friends down, or bring a downer on a social occasion. So we keep quiet. But this has terrible effects. So there was some really interesting research where the researchers asked people how supportive they were of climate policies, and everyone was really, really supportive. But then they asked those same people, how supportive do you think other people are? And people thought that other people were much less supportive than them. In other words, people who want massive, urgent climate action are the majority in our society, but we think we're the minority because we never talk about it. So talking about it is hugely, hugely powerful. By talking about climate change, you're the person in the office that's getting up and responding to the fire alarm, and so you're demonstrating the urgency to other people.
It's a really good analogy you have there, and I think that for some people they don't want to talk about climate change because it's a very complicated subject, and one person can say an argument against, and then you're stuck, you're snookered, because you just don't know what to say. So would your advice be that if people are concerned, not to go deep into the science, but just to say to other people something along the lines of, I'm concerned about climate change. Are you?
Yes, I think that's absolutely the right way to do it. And I think you're right. People do hold back because it's complex science, and we don't want to be found out that we don't know just quite how the atmospheric physics works or whatever. And this is actually one of the really negative impacts of the whole denialism industry. The fact that they've made this stuff controversial, so we feel scared to speak about it because it's controversial, but it's not actually controversial. Anyway, the point is, you don't have to understand the science. It's exactly as you said, Xan. So, you don't have to understand the complexities of cell biology to feel the impacts of a cancer diagnosis in the family. And it's exactly the same with climate change. It doesn't matter the extent to which you understand the science, you've seen what's happening with your own eyes. You are worried for your own future, and that gives you a seat at this table. You are a legitimate stakeholder. The other thing is, of course, that if you do encounter people that just wants to argue, don't bother. Just walk away from them. Those are a tiny proportion of society. It might seem like there's a lot of them if you're on Twitter or in social media, but in reality, it's a very small proportion of society.
Well, I hope you find that comforting. I certainly did. And it was a very it's a lovely interview, actually, with Charlie Gardner, Dr. Charlie Gardner. And you'll hear the rest of that from 3 o'clock this afternoon on Your Green Voice. We're going to continue your green breakfast with some showbiz. Of course, how much sustainable energy has been generated by the national grid in the past 24 hours. But the next piece of music you're going to hear is another brand new entry into the South Coast Music Chart Top 10. And that's coming up on Voice FM.
Southampton's Voice.
Voice FM.